How's it, everybody? Just want to hope this message is finding you well and in good health. Um, just did an interview with my friend and sensei, Kevin Howell from the Jiu Jitsu League. We did it about 3 weeks ago, and I'm just now getting around to releasing it because we've been moving. But in this episode, we talk about Kevin and his family's love for surfing and a little bit of Jiu Jitsu. Hope you guys enjoy the interview. Have a great day. Aloha.
But
So
yeah,
you were saying the media thing, and then you broke up.
yeah. I just always dug, like I've always liked receiving magazines, and
Yeah,
now like what we were talking about earlier with YouTube, like I love that story. Even on jujitsu, like they have
right.
those like BJJ hacks videos, or the ones where they travel to the guy's gym and you see,
Yeah, those are so good.
oh man, like you get
Yeah,
it in, like you get into their lives a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah,
I love it.
exactly.
So
And that's what
anything like
inspired
that.
me to do this, was to kind of go behind the scenes with friends that own their own businesses, and kind of to give like a kind of like an inside look into their lives and what they're really like.
Oh yeah.
I think it's super important, and I'm starting to see it more and more now, where businesses are becoming a little bit more transparent. And
Great.
if somebody can watch us, and they can, it can strike an emotional chord with them, to where it's like maybe they don't train jujitsu, but then they surf, and they hear about, we're sitting here talking about surf. They hear that, and then they want to get into shape, or they want to
Sure.
learn something, or pick up an extra hobby or something that'll, I don't know, or they watch UFC. It's like, hey, maybe I should give this a try, and it's like,
Well,
maybe I'll go check him out.
like
You know?
right now, like I'm totally jonesing to train. Like I'll
No,
probably roll with
we
you
all
at
are.
some point today.
Yeah,
But surfing is going to keep me sane because
yeah,
I get to
yeah.
go. It's really something I can enjoy on the same level,
Right,
and feel that challenge and feel that kind of release.
right,
And so, thank God that we can still do that to a certain extent.
right,
So
right.
that's something that I'm really thankful for right now, because I don't know how long it'll be until jujitsu's back to where it was. Hopefully sooner than later.
Right, right, right. Yeah, everybody's jonesing, It's like everybody still keep in touch with some of the friends at the gym, and I'm watching, like you said, on YouTube and social media, and it's
Mhm.
the whole jujitsu world is turned upside down right now, and everybody's just itching to train.
And everyone's arguing, like, this is what everyone's like, oh, we should leave, and this is how we're going to reopen. And I'm like,
uh,
my whole thing is I just want to reopen when we can do jujitsu. Like,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
I don't want to be teaching some yoga class in front of you guys where we're doing
Right,
1,000 hip escapes.
right, right,
I just don't. I know my students so well, and I know how much everyone just loves to train at our gym
right,
and
right,
roll.
right,
And so I just want to wait until it's safe, and
right,
and and maybe even wait a little bit longer and make
right.
sure, I just don't want to take any risks
Yeah,
with our students' health.
right,
That's just something I could do that for me, but
right, right.
that'd be rough. So
Yeah. How do you
until
think
then,
it?
I'll surf.
How do you think it's? What do you think? How do you think it's going to change moving forward after this pandemic? After the ban is lifted, and we're able to go out and into the back to jujitsu. Do you think there's
Well,
going to be a change in the way that classes are held, or
yeah, you're seeing like a few gyms have already adapted some kind of common sense rules, limiting class sizes,
okay,
limiting partnerings, limiting like during each phase. Some
okay,
are doing solo drills, some are just introducing very limited rolling time.
right,
Um, it's just really hard. Like, so
yeah,
I think you'll see a lot of gyms reopening pretty soon.
yeah,
Um, but I'll probably myself wait until I can make sure that if someone were to be sick in the middle of the
yeah,
class, even if they're not rolling with you on the corner of the class, I want to make sure, like I don't really know. Like, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor, And I don't want to make the wrong judgment call just because I'm losing so much personally. You
Right,
know, like
right.
this is I think so. I'm really trying to just remove my own bias and just go, what is the absolute safest choice I can make for my students, even if it pisses them off and makes them like antsy and wanting to train.
Right,
That's what we're gonna do, you know. So
right.
we're just gonna wait for us, but I think you'll see gyms opening up in the coming weeks,
Yeah,
probably. You know,
yeah.
I think you'll see. I think they'll be kind of, but you know what? They'll probably be our test dummies. So we'll
Right.
get to see.
Yeah, let them do it first.
Let them do it first. Let them figure it out.
Right,
And I hope
right,
they're fine. You know, I really
right,
hope they're. I don't wish this on any gym or anything. Actually, you
right.
know, all the gyms, for the most part, like I have a really good relationship with a lot of the area gyms and their
Yeah,
owners, and we're all cool with each other. But even though we're competitive in the same marketplace,
right.
I would hate to hear of this running through a gym. You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
that'd be just really bad, I think, in general for jiu-jitsu.
For jujitsu in general, yeah, for sure,
And it just so
for
happens
sure.
that this disease basically talks to jiu-jitsu. Like
Hmm.
this is I don't know if there is a responsible way to train. I guess
Yeah,
kind of what I've been looking for is like either the numbers are so small that it's not moving,
yeah,
or there's a great treatment like and basically a viral version of amoxicillin or something that you can take that will kick it down.
right,
And finally, obviously, a vaccine. But I think we'll definitely be open earlier than the vaccine,
right,
and probably somewhere between a treatment and those numbers being very nominal, you know.
right, right, right,
And then we still don't know. Like, I think our gym is full of a lot of like hardcore guys and girls that want to just be there,
right.
and I think for the most part they'll come. But I don't necessarily know if a lot of people who don't have the addiction yet are going to be jumping into jujitsu
Yeah, yeah.
phase. It might take a year or so for jujitsu to kind of like get through this, you know.
Right, right, right.
But
Especially,
honestly,
especially with that second wave that they're expected to come later this year in the
yeah,
winter time. It's like we're gonna have some breathing room, and then we'll see what happens from there.
yeah, with the flu. So I mean, we've been watching a lot of the broadcasts on that, and I think I mean, I don't see how viral this thing is
Right,
slowing down necessarily.
right,
And then the thing is that they don't know how long the immunity lasts for, and
right,
people,
right,
will they get sick again in the fall?
right.
So I think we're in line for a little battle with this thing for a few years maybe,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's going to take some time, you know. And so for me and Haley, we're just writing jiu-jitsu books again, and we're
right,
surfing a ton. So,
right,
you know, riding the skateboard in the front gravel and everything. So
right. The new normal, and
the new
there's
normal.
there's some good that comes from it. For sure. I've seen a lot of people doing things that are finding and skills that they never knew that they had, or getting around to doing things that they put off because of the busy schedules. A lot more family time for people that have never had it.
So, dude, I've got this motorcycle project in my garage.
Yeah,
I'm like, this is like the perfect time
right,
for me
right,
to go in there and just start tinkering and try to do it, right?
right, right,
But
right.
I'm I'm probably gonna spend like 5 or 6 hours on Netflix. You know, like
Just like everybody else.
like I've got all this crap I should do. You know, like
Right, right,
I
right,
could come out like such a better version of myself, but
right.
you know what? Episode 8 of Tiger King's on.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna kill 30 minutes there, and
right,
maybe eat a couple more pretzel bites. You know,
right.
we're all gonna come back a little bit fat, maybe. You know?
Just a little bit, just a little bit.
Really angry howls at 5 a.m. and took him down to Sunset Beach, and then we surfed Sunset, and I pushed the kids in. It was really, really crappy. And Andy Horry met us out.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And then so that we went from there and we went down to Bolsa and we just walked, and it was super heavy. It was like 4 foot, throwing on like inches of water. Andy got like a big old barrel in front of me. It was crazy.
What?
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's so cool.
It
So,
was,
so the beaches are open right now.
yeah, the beaches are open.
Okay.
We don't have state parking. So for us, like, we usually drive from, we go to Bolsa because it's the closest to Long Beach.
Okay.
And it's really easy because like my family can park there and not
Right.
have trouble with parking. And
Right.
so we just go there, and then if it's better, or like if it's, sometimes it's good there, otherwise we'll go to Huntington.
Okay.
And rarely Sunset. But right now Bolsa's closed and the meters are closed, so you'd either have to park it like in the housing area in Huntington, or it's Sunset in that little strip area,
Right. And then walk all the way over there.
Yeah, so that's not happening, so
Yeah.
we're just biding our time. We've been going more lately, but I'm such a germaphobe. I really don't want to take any risks. So
Yeah.
we just go at 5 a.m. We wake up in the dark. We get there. It's still a little bit dark. Today, I don't think we encountered another human for at least like an hour.
Okay.
And then we were able to get out before it gets crowded. Because man, it's getting super crowded out there too.
Well, I mean, it's one of the last things left that you're able to do normally,
I know.
So,
But I don't know. Like, so if you look at the pier in April, it's never this crowded.
Yeah.
Like, there's always a good little crew there, but
Right.
it's never like it is right now. And
Right.
so I think it's just getting flooded. And so
Yeah.
maybe people are a little more desperate and they're like, I need to go do something. And they're all heading out and surfing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because the other beaches are closed and they're coming to Huntington to go there. But it's been kind of like I've been talking to Tutu about it. And it's like annoying, because you see spots that you usually are able to go get a couple waves and go home. And right now it's just not possible.
So I think I know my friend John that I just did the interview with Core Surfboards. He was telling me that over in Makaha that it's packed, and he's like, man, he goes, I don't recognize any of those cars or any of the people. He goes, it's people coming from all other sides of the island right now.
Dude, I can't imagine Makaha being the place to go surge surfing at,
Right.
Dude, I would get my ass kicked just for paddling out there. When I lived out there, I always wanted to go, but I didn't know anyone that lived on the west side. And I'm like, you also just don't want to go out and like kook it.
Right.
You also don't want to, or even if you're good, you don't want to be that guy either that goes out there and is like trying to catch everything. So there's so many more rules in Hawaii. That I think are great. Like, in all honesty, I think California should like show a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
But it makes it super intimidating. Like when you're like this Howley dude from California surfing Hawaii and not being on that level either.
Right.
It's super scary.
It's as time goes on and the new generations comes about, they are a lot more cordial and a lot more open and inviting compared to back in the day. I was just listening to the Ottcast with Kyborg. And he was talking about that. He was talking about like how when he was growing up, they had to regulate. And that new generation that's there now, they're all friends. You know what I mean? Like the kids are all friends with people from all over the world. Social media connects these people, and so when they get out in the water, it's not that heavy vibe anymore. And there's like a bit more, but there is still that respect, for the locals that are there. So it's just a different time. I think that's what it is.
It's the one you're talking about. I was just talking Kai Garcia, that one was shocking because
in the beginning it was intimidating. You could tell.
Yeah, dude. And I didn't know that he had this whole like turnover. And I knew about his heart attack, but I didn't know about his like come to Jesus moment.
Right.
And I'd actually through Eric Gu, I remember meeting him and Leaf and rolling with them in his garage.
Okay.
And dude, that Kai was so intimidating.
Yeah. Well, rightfully so, man. They were the regulators out there, you know, and they had him in charge of the the Volcom House, and there's just a lot, you know. I mean, Hawaii needed that at that time, though. You know, during that time in surfing, it really needed that. Where, you know, you look at the North Shore now compared to then. I mean, I don't know. From my perspective, there's a lot less local people there. It's more like Costa Mesa down there now.
Yeah.
You know, all the property got bought up, and it's just different. And you know, it is what it is. But back then, they were just protecting the lineup. You know, it's people wanting to come down there, and him and Kala, and you know, there's a few other, you know, Marvin Foster. You know, those guys just had to take care of that place and make sure that people were, you know, they knew how the pecking order fell, and otherwise, it would just be a free for all. You know.
You know, it's really cool. Like, so I knew of him through jiu-jitsu, and then at Volcom, I obviously very quickly learned who he was.
Okay.
But I always, like, outside of like the what we're talking about,
right?
I would watch, like, because his clips would come through, and they'd make a video, and he'd be on the computer body or whatever video Volcom was putting out.
Right.
And even today, I have loved watching a dude that looks like him.
Yeah.
John Briley, Chava Greenlee. These dudes are big. Like, they're over 200 pounds. They're super thick. And I was never like a skinny guy surfer. Like, even when I was skinny, I wasn't skinny. You know, like I wasn't like some of the guys we know that are like no body fat. And so watching those guys go surf like such heavy places. And I would always come to my mind, like, they're surfing outer reef, like Kauai, getting drilled, and you know muscle weighs so much more than fat, right?
Yeah.
And these guys are built literally like football players. I'm like, how in the heck do they break their leash and swim back to shore carrying just these giant freaking muscles all over? And it always impressed me seeing those guys because they're just so confident, so much control, and just absolutely ripping and being big guys. So I've always enjoyed like seeing that, because it's a little bit more like something that a normal guy could potentially aspire to. You know?
Right.
So I thought it was pretty cool.
It's a common sight in Hawaii. You know, it's like mostly everybody grows up, you know, surfing or living near the beach, and you know, they learn how to read the water, understand the ocean at such a young age. And so it's definitely, when you see it for the first time, when you see a big guy surfing, it's like, wow, you know. And one of the guys that impressed me back in the day was this guy. He was one of the guys in the Hui. His name was Junior Moipono. And he would surf out at, I think it was like VLAN, you know, and Junior was maybe 300, possibly, just big. And man, light on his feet, and could ride barrel, you know, he could ride the tube so good, and obviously get all the waves that he wanted, but such a nice guy and just insanely good. Yeah. But you know, throughout the island, you see that, you go, especially 100%. When you go to the west side, you know, you're going to see the big guys out in the east side. Look at China, you know, China Uemura, you know, China's he's not a small guy, but it surfs incredible.
You know, it's funny you say that. One of the things that really bummed me out moving back to California was, so a lot of the kids here that go surfing, they live coastal California.
Right.
So their parents trust me, my friends and myself were all dirt poor. Yeah. But we didn't have access to new boards, new wetsuits. Usually you see, like, in the lineup, the kids that are really, really good in California
Yeah.
They got a brand new wetsuit. Their board is pristine white. It's got stickers all over it. They got a quiver, right? Like that whole idea was like so alien for us kids growing up. And so that was like my impression before I moved to Hawaii. And then when I moved out there, number one, like, so all the like judgmental, like California shade you put on things growing up, like, oh, look at that sponger. That guy's an idiot. This guy's an idiot. And you have this whole list of all these like judgment calls of like California surf culture. So, but when I moved out to Hawaii, I loved it. You know, I remember surfing at like Diamond Head and even like pretty crowded spots. I'd be out at Kaiser's and you'd see like a boogie boarder shredding, a dude in a hat shredding, a guy that like people that look out of place just shredding. And then I remember one day, and this is what really blew it up for me, is I went down to Sandy's, and you know there's that little left off the rocks that feeds into like the body surfing area. Yeah. And so we're out there, and this kid comes in, and it was him and a family sharing a board with like probably a good 3 inches broken off the nose. Yeah. The board was brown. Yeah. Like it looked like literally like a garbage find. Yeah. And this kid paddles out and absolutely lights it up. Yeah. Goes in, lets someone else in his family ride it, and they're all just kind of chilling in that parking lot, eating and like having a great time. Mm-hmm. His shorts, just nothing about him was like California surf culture. It was all just like, hey, those are just the shorts that he drove down to the beach on to hang out with his family. And this is the only board they had. And I thought it was super rad because I found, you know, that in Hawaii, there's like a lot less judgment in terms of like, like you're standing, like it's more about people just going to the beach and sharing the beach and hanging out, family time. It's like your barbecue. It's like that, but with surfing too, you know, and everyone just kind of hanging out. And that was something that when I moved back, you could see it right away, you know, that, you know, that is one of those things that I think is just missing out here to some degree. I think a lot has changed in California too, you know. We all get older and less dumb, you know, but it was super, super cool to see that so many different walks of life, not just affluent, white coastal Orange County guys, are out in the water and they're all having fun and excelling and, you know, showing respect and love. And I thought it was super, super cool.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's so awesome that you took note of that. You know, we're surrounded by a body of water, you know, and it doesn't matter if you're rich or you're poor, you have the same access to the beach in Hawaii as everybody else. And, you know, it's like everybody, you know, most of the people come from like humble beginnings and big families. And so you can't afford to get a surfboard, you know, and it's like you're either borrowing one or, you know, you only have one, like you said, for the whole family. And you don't know any better. You just go out there and you emulate whatever it is that you see everybody else is doing, right? Just like the reminds me of like skateboarding with the younger kids, you know, they don't know any better. They're just like, they see it and they go out and they mimic it. And that's what, you know, same thing with those guys, like you were saying, with the guy with the broken nose on his surfboard. He doesn't know any better. He's probably saw Derek Ho and Larry Rios and those guys out there, you know, ripping sandies, because those guys, you know, would go out there regularly and like, oh, that's how you do it, you know.
Hey, you just reminded me of something talking about Hawaii skating. One of my favorite current skaters right now is Haimana Reynolds. Oh, yeah. And I always watch his clips, right? But one of the coolest things about Haimana is that dude, I swear, half the time it looks like he's just skating in his pajamas, right? Yeah. So here, check this out. Check this out. Look at, this is Milo doing that Haimana pajama style skating, dude. Yeah. If you ever see a clip of my kids, I swear half the time, Rod, they're skating in their pajamas.
I know. Every time I see them, they're in their pajamas.
Yeah.
Do they ever come off that ramp? That's all I ever see is them on that ramp.
You know, so okay, so I have a rule, right? So they're always hanging out with Nalu, one of their buddies,
Yeah.
and they're playing online like Roblox or whatever.
Right.
And so I can be like super type A, as you know, and I'm like, I go, hey, you know, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You could spend hours on there. I don't care as long as schoolwork's done, obviously.
Right.
But I tell them like, whatever time they put into that,
Right.
I just want them to put at least half of that time into like something physical that's active.
Yeah.
So if they spend like 2 hours on the internet with their buddies, I don't care.
Right.
But they'll go out and they'll skate for an hour.
Right.
And then usually later on at night they'll go back on and ride for a little bit.
Yeah.
And man, it's really helped their surfing, you know, like they take like late drops and it's a lot easier, and they're kind of like getting up to the lip a little bit easier and surfing more.
Right.
And that's something like I'm super happy about, because my whole dream was like just to be able to paddle out with my sons, sit out there, go camping with them somewhere, eat some food on the beach,
right,
and have a weekend surfing with them. And so and that's still the dream, you know. The dream is like to be able to travel with them, go surfing, enjoy good food,
right,
and that's it. And they don't really like jiu-jitsu, you know, but like they just do it. But I think in all honesty, I think they probably feel too much pressure in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And it's not really fun. It's not like it's not something they chose, you know.
Right. But you know, I think that's something that they'll grow to love. They're naturally, I mean, they're so good at jiu-jitsu. I mean, it's impressive. I love watching them roll. Everything seems so natural, and they seem like a mirror of yourself. It's like watching a mini you do jiu-jitsu, you know. It's like it's almost like they're ahead of their skill level is ahead of their age, because they've been doing it for so long, and watching you and Haley, you know, which is so impressive.
I'll show you something funny. I just asked Haley to go grab it. But yeah, so they grew up training, because like that was one thing, is like that was my passion.
Yeah.
You know? I did, and I kind of like but nudged Haley into training, and then she kept doing it. And so here's a funny picture. Now you're saying that, this is a picture of Juan Speed's daughter and Ollie, like right after he's born, sitting on the mats at the old academy.
Wow.
So literally, like, the kid was always gonna train, you know.
Right.
And they still will. Like when we reopen from all this, they're gonna train. But I really look at Rod as just like exercise. Like if they're exercising, because they're such mellow kids. Like they're not gonna be getting into fist fights, because like I had a big mouth. Yeah. So I would get into fist fights because I had a big mouth, and I'd hang out with friends that were about like a year or so older than me. Right. So they kind of like would make me like, I would try to like prove myself, or even though I was super scared, I didn't want to fight anyone. I didn't want to, but just peer pressure and like a lack of spine made me just like go and like do stuff I shouldn't have been doing, you know. Right. Whereas my kids, they have good friends. They're like so much more even keel than I was. So like it's gonna be. I hope it'll be a lot easier for them in that regard. So
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will.
I just want them to exercise. That's it.
Right. You know, I had written something down for later in the interview, but we're already on the topic, and I was thinking about like how our generation. You were born in the 70s, right? Were you? So okay, so you're a 70s child, like late 70s. But I just think it's really cool, like how our generation, and the way that we interact with our kids, is a lot different from our parents' generation. You know, it's like you take a look around at your good friends, my good friends, and just people in general. They're able to do the things that they love to do with their kids, like jujitsu, like skateboarding, like surfing, snowboarding. camping, that, you know, all the stuff that you enjoy. And that's what makes it so much fun. And to see your child enjoying the things that you do
100%.
just makes everything, makes life just so great, right?
It's so funny, like, even like, so me and Haley, we talk about this all the time, because like she had like these super great grandparents that were always like really involved in her life and like always there. And I feel like something happened like with our folks, were like more the baby boomer generation, and they were busy. Like, so for me, like I was a latchkey kid. My grandparents were always around because they kind of retired young. They had the they had the house and the stuff, and so, but my parents had to work. Haley's parents had to work, and so we were kind of like, I don't know, at least for me, like my friends and me were kind of like a lost generation. Like we just did whatever we wanted. We kind of discovered things we liked, like skateboarding. Skateboarding was actually my love way before surfing was. And like just riding around the streets all day and skating and like hanging out and getting into tons of trouble. For me, it's like when I knew my kids had like a inclination to skateboard, and they're both way better than me, you know, and then they took that into surfing and they got passionate and they tried to like improve. It's just the funnest, man. So for me, like we really try to just design our life around like family time with the kids, just doing stuff with them, because we know like that's where all the great memories are coming out of anyways, you know.
Right. In all fairness to my parents, you know, and I'm pretty sure that you have the same experience. You know, like you said, you grew up in a era of like playing, you know, the parents like sports, you know, playing like regular baseball, basketball, football. But you know, it was like there's the camping aspect. There's like the road trips with the family, or fishing, or you know, simple outdoor things, but not the surfing or skateboarding, the countercultures that we got into with our friends. But you know, that bleeds into what you do with your kids now as well, right? The camping and the road trips and
we try to expose them to as much as we can, you know. We don't like, we're the type that we have a ton of rules in the house. Like the kids they're expected to behave a certain way, they're expected not to use certain language, everything, you know. But on that level, like we also don't like restrict a lot from like them being exposed to it. Like you hear what's on the academy playlist, right? And so like we know the world's out there. We have like a certain like expectation of how they're gonna be as like men and how they're gonna act, and then we have like a certain, I'm not saying it's right, but you know, we have like our own morality that we try to put on them. And then, you know, with that, I kind of look at every other thing we do, like our trips or our camping, how they talk to people at the gym even. And every single thing outside of the gym is really just an extension of like those kind of things. Like when they go out to a different place and we're paddling out we were at Kahaluu Bay, and I could tell Ollie was super nervous, you know, like he didn't know what to do. Banyans, there's a couple grumpy looking guys in the lineup, and I just paddled up to them. I killed them with kindness. I didn't paddle for their waves. I just chilled with them, and I told Ollie, just sit right here with me, we'll hang out, you'll get to know people. And he's not a very shy kid, and you could see him starting to like open up and be nice and hang out. And I try to like really put that on them more. And then I think all the little trips and all the little things we do with them just kind of reinforces it. But it is, I do feel bad for my parents too, because I think it's a luxury they didn't have, you know, like
for sure.
They didn't have this time to like just go do it. And I know a lot of people even now don't. But I would encourage anybody who's like looking at what to do with their free time, I'd say whatever it is, don't just come home tired and beat up from your job. And just eat your steak and go to bed, you know. Like whatever that time you have, it's better spent on someone else. You know, and that's kind of like our theory even with the gym is like, I'd rather just roll with my students and my friends and like
Right.
contribute there, you know,
Right.
and so, and I'd rather surf with my friends and watch them get a really good wave because that's just so much more fun, you know.
Right. Right.
Actually, I want good waves too, but
I'm sure you've had your share.
a couple.